Are you caught in the whirlwind of overwhelming responsibilities? And does the very thought of Monday morning send chills down your spine? Well, it's time to toss those feelings out the window. Welcome to Season 3 of the Take Notes podcast, where you get to make yourself the priority in order to show up as your best self. I'm your host, Jen Rafferty, former music teacher, emotional intelligence practitioner, mom of two, and founder of Empowered Educator, and I've been where you are. In this season, we're not just talking about surviving, we are diving deep into thriving. Are you ready to take the lead in your life? Well, let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Take Notes. Today's episode is going to be a little different, and I'm going to chat with you before I introduce our guest. As many of you know, I began my career as a music teacher in Central New York, and I truly loved it. I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my career. You know, I loved inspiring kids, especially middle school kids, to find their voice and to create a connection with music as some sort of creative, expressive outlet that they could use for the rest of their lives. And like so many people, I struggled to find myself during COVID. And while yes, I needed to shift to online teaching, also 2 months prior to that, my husband and I decided it was time to get a divorce. So I moved out of my house with my two kids who were 5 and 7 at the time, the same weekend the world shut down in March of 2020. Everything that I thought I was the day before, I felt all of a sudden, I just wasn't. I wasn't a wife. I wasn't in my old house. I wasn't even able to stand in front of my students and lead them in choir. Singing itself at the time was thought to be very dangerous, and I felt lost. But through it all, I kept asking some really important questions like, who am I and who do I want to be? And so in the fall of 2020, I decided to stay home for what I thought would just be a semester to homeschool my kids, which I can share those stories on another episode, perhaps. I started my PhD in educational psychology and started my own healing journey. I continued to dive into the research of cognitive neuroscience because I loved it. I was really interested in mindset, and I became certified as an emotional intelligence practitioner. And for fun, I started this little podcast because it was something that I had wanted to do for a really long time, and I finally felt like I had the time. I was still planning to go back to the classroom, so what I wanted to do on the show was to expand the conversation about music education and its intersection with the social sciences. My nerdy self was very excited. I still get very excited talking about all of those things, which is why I have the guests on today like I do. But in any case, I had all types of guests on the show, and I had some really fantastic conversations. We talked about moving music education in so many new directions, and this became season 1 of Take Notes. So if you're interested, go ahead and take a look. But when it was time to decide whether or not to go back to teach, something inside of me called me in a new direction. You know, we all saw how wide the gap was between what teachers needed and what they were able to get regarding the support of their own well-being during this time of COVID. So I decided to write my resignation letter in February of 2021. And to be honest, it felt amazing. I remember smiling so wide after I signed and printed that letter and sent it off. I felt empowered. I was really excited about the future. And then about 4 days later, I was a hot, sobby mess, blubbering on my couch, wondering, what the fuck did I just do? I left a job that I was great at. I wanted to be a teacher my whole life. I have kids to feed. I have a roof over my head. What did I just do? And with the support of some incredible friends and a community that I was beginning to cultivate with other people going through their own pivots, I really learned to trust myself. And Empowered Educator was born. I started a company, and this company focused on the social and emotional well-being of the adults in schools. Because in order for educators to make transformational generational change, we need to understand that the most generous thing that we can do for our students is take care of ourselves. And it's continued to become so ironic for me, especially now with the rise of social emotional learning programs that are definitely more of a check the box thing to do than actual embodiment of any of the content. And how can you teach something if you don't understand it and believe it and model it yourself? Educators have the most important job in the world, and our kids are watching us for how to human. And some of the ways in which things have always been simply aren't serving us anymore. Things like living in perpetual stress and anxiety. Things like being afraid to take a sick day because of the shame and the judgment of the fallout. Things like putting yourself last because you've believed that taking time or basic self-care things like bathroom breaks are selfish. Things like being a veteran teacher and yet still feeling year after year the same struggles that you had as a first-year teacher. And the truth is, so many of us have been running on empty because you've believed that feeling overwhelmed is normal. You've been believing that your stress has to be the driver that runs your life. But here, in Empowered Educator, we get to play with what's possible because we get to ask questions like, what would change for you if you believed that creating a healthy work-life blend is well within your reach? What would change if you actually believed that you are worthy of rest? What would be different if you lived your life uninterrupted? And what's so cool about all of this is these are the questions that I continue to ask myself and have gotten me from that moment of sitting on my couch, sobbing my eyes out, to 18 months later being on that TEDx stage and now running this beautiful organization that empowers educators all over the world. Because we exist as a space for teachers and school leaders and parents and paraprofessionals and office staff to wake up to their inherent worth and to pave a pathway to someplace new, a world that can grow for our kids from a place of love and compassion and connection and self-worth. Because the truth is, if we want our children to know their self-worth, we need to know ours. And I've been so fortunate to work with so many schools, and Empowered Educator continues to grow at rapid speed because this is the work that makes everything else work. So let's do things differently. And as a part of our incredible growth here, we have a new member of the Empowered Educator team, and we're talking with her today. And we're going to chat about what's next in Empowered Educator, as well as her role in supporting every educator who wants it. I am over the moon to introduce you to Jillian Seibel Pawlowski, who is a trauma-informed certified transformational coach. She specializes in radical self-love, metacognition, consciousness, and the unification of mind and body to help people transform the way they experience themselves and life. Her expertise provides a safe space for clients to grow towards expansive self-love and self-actualization. And she is hosting an epic event in Empowered Educator to kick off our newest one-to-one coaching program here. So I brought her on the show today so we can all get to know her and have a chat. So welcome, Jillian. Hello.
Hello.
I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's dive in. What is the support that you are actually able to get when you're working with somebody one-to-one instead of anything else that we might be doing? Because a lot of us seek support in all these outside spaces. I always think of the song Closer to Fine by the Indigo Girls, which is one of my favorites. Jamming out in the car, cry every time. I can't help it. And thank you to the Barbie movie. Now everybody knows this song. But we look to these external things, and sometimes we need to focus our energy a little bit more clearly. So let's talk about that regarding coaching. Tell me about what that is like for you.
The support I've actually received in coaching took me by surprise at how transformational, powerful, safe, deep it can go. I love that you referenced that song, Closer to Fine, because look, support looks different for everybody, okay? You are unique. The support systems in your life should also be unique. And the beauty of one-to-one coaching is that it is one-to-one. So you are in this safe place with someone who is devoted to listening to you. That's what a coach is. It's like an expert listener and then asking you questions and helping you navigate through different perspectives of what's possible, what could be different. It's a lot of listening so that way you can unpack. You get that time to unpack, take all the thoughts out of your head for a second, let them be voiced, let them be heard. And just from that alone, a lot of clarity happens. When you hear yourself say something out loud that you have kept inside or kept in your head and it's just been swirling around, when you say it out loud, you might already see it a different way. And then when you hear it reflected back to you, you can understand something new from it and gain a new perspective, or at least see it more clearly so that you can kind of start to untangle, I don't know, the mess we make inside our heads or the mess we make in solitude.
Well, it's like the Charlie Brown cartoons.
Yeah.
With the little squiggly lines on top of their heads. That is often what so many of our thoughts feel like without sharing out loud. Would you share with our listeners how you came to your own growth journey and how this has really impacted your life?
Yeah, I would love to. So it's basically closer to fine. Okay, just listen to the song. I tried so many modalities and pathways to healing, to growth. I took myself down every personal development rabbit hole and spiritual path that I could find, and they were great. And I got all the self-help books, and they were great and fine. And I still felt myself kind of just doing the next right thing and still wondering day in and day out, is this all there is? I felt very stuck. And like the self-help books were pleasing to read until I moved on to the next book. And then I didn't apply anything that I learned or didn't know how to apply what I had learned. And one day a friend passed off this, honestly, a coaching workshop to me. It was a 4-day coaching workshop experience. And I attended, and through that was invited to invest in my first coach. And I had never invested in myself before like that. And I have also never fully understood myself the way that I do now on the other side of investing in my first coach. So through everything that I learned and discovered and healed through coaching and through that beautiful space that coaching is, that transformational space, truly, I also was able to identify a lot of limiting beliefs that I wasn't aware I was running under. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's also the power of coaching, right? What somebody else can lovingly and powerfully open your eyes to, and then show you the how behind all of the personal development and the self-help books and the spiritual paths. Like, that's what a coach is, right? Somebody who shows you the game plan and puts you in and gives you the oranges at halftime. You're doing a great job. And then asks you the powerful questions so that way you can come to your own empowered decision, because that's what feels good. And that's what feels like growth, when you can say yourself, oh, isn't that interesting? I discovered XYZ about myself in that last session. And now I'm going to take them and apply them in 1, 2, 3. Coaching is live to you right here, right now, in the moment. And it's personal to you right here, right now, in the moment. So, you know how you might read a book at one time of your life and certain chapters, oh, that felt really good. And oh, that opened my mind. And that's amazing. And then if you come back to it 20 years later, if you read the same book and it might hit you an entirely different way, the difference in coaching is that it's live. So it's like you're with the author who's blowing your mind about yourself personally, actively, currently, as you are, and you're able to unpack more than something that is information. It's actually the application step that will transform. And that's what coaches help with.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, right? We're almost bombarded by information. I don't see it. We are bombarded by information all of the time, all day. And I don't know that we need more information. What we need are reminders of application to then create transformation, because it doesn't matter how many books you read. And I'm saying this as an avid reader
Right.
who's running out of real estate on her bookshelves because of all the books that I'm reading. But none of that actually matters if there's no application to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that application piece that is essential. And that's the first thing that slides, right? As a teacher sitting in a lot of these professional development workshops, you'd sit there and maybe there'd be a handful of them that struck you, and you're sitting there like, wow, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. And you leave feeling super inspired. And then 2 weeks later, everything's out the window because you're in the weeds again. And then 2 years go by and you're like, oh yeah, that person was kind of great. But what was the benefit of it other than this nice memory? And it's that application and integration piece that's what matters.
Right. Application and integration, because it's the continued support.
What's so great about coming into this work is that you have all the answers inside of you.
Yes.
And we need somebody on the outside to reflect that back to you.
Yeah. I think I heard you say it. You can't read the label from inside the bottle. I love that, Jen. And I would agree, I love that. I don't know. It seems like people are slowly starting to take on to wellness and prioritizing themselves slowly, but surely. You want to get fit? Go to the gym. You want to figure out why you can't actually go to the gym after you say you want to go to the gym all the time? Get a coach.
It's so funny that you brought that example up, because that was literally something that I was talking about earlier this week in a workshop that I was having. Was someone said exactly that. Jen, I know that going to the gym feels good in my body. My body knows that it feels good going to the gym. How come when things get really overwhelming, I stop going to the gym?
Right.
And so we were able to work through this underlying limited belief of, when things get super overwhelming, I put myself last. So of course it makes sense that you're not going to the gym if that's what you believe, that you need to put yourself last when things get really busy and overwhelming. So it doesn't matter if your mind knows and your body knows. If your subconscious doesn't know and agree, you're not going to the gym. And there needs to be a match with what you want and the help that you receive and the support that you receive, because you're not going to get a chiropractor if you're interested in learning about gardening. You need to be able to really identify, well, where am I? Where do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And where can I find the bridge? Mm-hmm. And that's what we get to do here in this space through now, which is so exciting, this one-to-one support, but also all the programmings that we have here through Empowered Educator provide the bridge. So there is no longer this gaping hole between where you are and where you want to be. And you get to become the person who you want to be. And the truth is, you deserve this. It's not just you who deserve this, but your students deserve this. Your kids deserve the best of you, so they know that they are capable of being the best of them. That is why this is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. It has been modeled for so long what stress looks like. You said earlier, stress is the driver that runs your life. And I think so many people can relate to that. And that's why we're creatures of habit, and we'll get into these habits and these patterns and these comfort zones that are driven by our subconscious mind. We're not even thinking about it anymore. But what if love was the driver, or kindness that runs your life? And what if that's what was modeled? And what if that's what students saw? Loving kindness and this lighter, brighter energy in leadership, in teachers. What if that's what they saw? What would that impact be on everyone involved if love or kindness was the driver, was the habitual state? That's what everybody deserves.
Yeah.
And has the power to get to, truly. Once you wake up and realize that it's possible, and treat yourself to the support you deserve.
Well, and that's just it, right? So wouldn't that be great if kindness and love were the homeostasis and not
Mhm.
the stress and the overwhelm. That is the world that I see. I've
Mhm.
shared this so many times. I perpetually wear rose-colored glasses unapologetically on my face at all times because I know that there is a world that can exist beyond what we currently are experiencing. And if we're only looking at what we're experiencing, we're never going to elevate out of it. So
Mhm.
I need to believe that there is a world in which kindness and love is in the driver's seat. And I also want to just make it explicitly clear. We are not only talking about kindness and love outward,
Mm.
kindness and love inward. And I would venture to say that that often needs to come first, because when you start to be kind and truly love yourself, everything that you do externally becomes that much stronger and brighter and greater and has more impact because it starts with you.
It certainly must come first. Confirmed.
Yes, accurate. And it's so ironic because so often I hear, especially from teachers, I know this and I tell this to my kids all the time, but I forget about me. So can we just stay there for a little bit and talk about that? And I think we know why we've gotten there, but how do we start shifting away from that?
Shifting away from forgetting about me begins with the knowing deeply, truly, or the willingness to know and learn and deeply believe that all outward love starts with inward self-love, that you get to put yourself first. And when you do put yourself first, anything that you then put out is stronger. So starting with that acknowledgement is important. And then increasing mindfulness. Okay, I'm going to talk about this for a second because it's empirically demonstrated for all of my fellow research nerds out there. Mindfulness has extensive benefits. And when you increase your mindfulness or your awareness, you increase your opportunity to remember or to make a new choice rather than living in a habitual autopilot state.
It's everything. Mindfulness too has become kind of a triggering word for some people now
Mhm.
in education, because it's like, wait, you're telling me now on top of everything I have to do, I now need to be mindful? Screw you, kind of thing. And I also want to be clear what we're saying right now. The mindfulness we're talking about isn't something else you need to do.
Mhm.
Mindfulness is simply being aware of how you're feeling
Mhm.
and what you're thinking. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I say this with love, and I'm not asking anyone to blink their eyes and all of a sudden be in this Zen meditative state. That's not at all what mindfulness or awareness is. It's just awareness. Like you said, it's neutral. And I love you. If you're letting stress be the driver, of course you're going to respond. Now I have to be mindful. And if you're curious and you're interested and you're ready and you do want that sustainable change, to start remembering to put yourself first, or at least even considered somewhere on that to-do list, you get to. You get to. It's about making a new empowered choice. And lovingly, it comes with a responsibility, not more things to add to your to-do list, different things to prioritize on your to-do list.
That's what it is. It's a shift in your priorities.
It's a little confronting at first when you're used to letting stress be the driver, and the transformational change that you deserve to start looking at life through a lens of love is worth it. You're worth it. You're so worth it. And it is so possible. Just become more aware. And that's also the beauty and the power of coaching, right? Because me just saying, become more aware is not helpful. But powerful coaching spaces that coach around mindfulness or increasing awareness, if that's all we do, it's going to be amazing.
It is going to be amazing. And I will also say something that comes up, and I'm sharing this because this has come up several times this week, where teachers have said to me, this sounds amazing, Jen, and change is really hard and takes a long time. So can you speak on that for a little bit too?
Well, I could go two different directions with it, and so I will. So bear with me here. I'm not suggesting that the change that we're talking about is easy, but I would love to lovingly shed some light on the powerful language that change is hard. It is if you say it is. It is if that's where your thoughts are, which are then producing your feelings around it, and then producing the way you behave around it, like avoiding it. And then the result is, oh yeah, confirmation, change is hard because I was avoiding the change and I was feeling like crap about it because I was thinking about how hard it was. What else comes up is I think people highly underestimate themselves until they give it a shot.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That did something to me when you said that. People underestimate themselves.
Yeah.
Say more.
You are so much more powerful than maybe your upbringing allowed you to believe. Maybe your life experiences made you think about yourself. But the truth is, you are amazing. You are more powerful than you know if you just give yourself the chance. And not in like a self-defeatist, sarcastic way, like truly give yourself the chance. Recognize that you deserve it and anything is possible. I mean, look at the world and all the amazing things that happen. It would be really fun to sit down and make a list of all of the incredible, mind-blowing things that human beings can do. And I would argue that it's not because they're special, because so are you. You are uniquely amazing. And sometimes change does feel hard. Endless resources and support are available to you. Should you just reach out and grab it? You don't have to do it alone. You're never alone.
And that makes the change so much more bearable in those growing pains and joyful in the connectedness of sharing that experience within a community and acknowledging that shared humanity in all of it, because we all know the one thing that stays the same is that things change. This is the way of the world.
Yeah, or if you think about any of these great transformational tales, they all had challenge. Every single good story faces hardship, challenge, adversity. But if you look at the end of the story, it's worth it. You wouldn't say, well, I wish they never went on that epic quest journey. You wouldn't say that about the main character, so don't say it about yourself.
So I would love to talk about this upcoming workshop because you have used the word truth several times in our conversation. And this incredible program that you have developed, I am so excited to offer this to the Empowered Educator audience and the Take Notes audience. And I would love for you to share about what is the truth about returning to your favorite self.
I am equally excited about offering the 6 truths to returning to your favorite self. And the reason I created it this way was because I noticed a pattern. I noticed this kind of collective experience where it feels like, and this can be said in different time cycles, like, okay, over the summer, we were living our best life and we set all these intentions and had all these ideas and convictions of who we were going to be and how we were going to be and how we were going to show up and handle things. And, the semester starts and the honeymoon phase comes and goes. And then in the blink of an eye, all of a sudden we're back on the hamster wheel doing the same thing we were doing last year in a very old familiar pattern of that same habit or emotional or energetic state that, we said we weren't going to get in. And the same could be said for whatever, New Year's resolutions or, I was feeling great this weekend and I said, okay, this week is going to be different. And then what happens? And so I see this collective forgetting of one's true self, collective forgetting of one's favorite version of himself, and maybe a sensation or a disempowering belief that it's not safe to express your true self and your favorite version of yourself. And Jen, I wrote this workshop from the heart. It came pouring out. And this is not one of the truths I'm sharing with you, but the truth, it embodies all 6 of them. The truth of my heart is that the unique expression of who you truly are is your magic and your medicine. And that's what the world needs. So often we're creatures of habit and we find ourselves back in the old patterns that we would expect, or back underneath all of this stress and pressure that the outside world puts on us or that we put on ourselves. And if I do nothing else in this life, I would love to guide people back to the favorite version of themselves, so that way they can feel that way all the time and never abandon themselves again.
I keep bringing it back to this place because I need to be so explicit about this. This is about you, yes, and it is about the next generation that is coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are not giving yourself permission to fully express yourself as your most favorite version of yourself all of the time, how are our kids going to do that? And I am not available to keep on keeping on the way that it has been. I want a world in which everyone understands themselves to a place where they feel comfortable in that authenticity without playing small or not sharing or feeling afraid of what other people might think or feel when they express and they shine their light.
Mm-hmm.
We need bright light, and it has to come from you first. And the depth of this and the impact of this is so far beyond whatever is going to happen in those 90 minutes of beautiful, potent, juicy application, integration, information, transformation, all of it. It's what happens the next day and the day after and the day after, and the new choices you make and the decisions and how you show up and your choice to seek out support and seek out community and learn more and have accountability towards yourself and recognize and be mindful when you fall off, and then you're going to give yourself grace and you're going to come on right back. This is it for you and for everyone that comes after you.
The world needs it, and you deserve it, because it would be tragic to get to the end of your life realizing only then you had the power to give it to yourself all along. And so let's go ahead and start now. And so the 6 truths to return to your favorite self is just that. It's some beautiful wisdom that is on my heart to share. And I call it wisdom because it came from my heart, period. And then there will be coaching. There's space for reflection. There's space for coaching. So that way, everybody who gets to be there feels satiated and supported and has clarity and begins their transformation journey. You're going to walk away with clarity on who that favorite version of yourself is. You're going to see them. You're going to feel them. You're going to know them. And you'll get the tools to embody them. Even when the going gets tough, you're going to understand why the fullest expression of yourself is your magic and your medicine, and the ability to apply it. It's not only going to be inspirational and motivational, but you'll walk away with the tools of the trade. How to remember to return to your favorite self, especially when the going gets tough.
And in all of that, what that results in, of course, is you waking up feeling amazing every single day, you having deeper connections with your family and the people in your life, you having more clarity and confidence in the work that you do, you prioritizing yourself in a way that you're able to return to the things that bring you joy that you might have said goodbye to and haven't touched for a while. That changes everything. And like Jillian said, you deserve it. You deserve all of it. Are there any last words that you want to share about this spectacular workshop that's happening on December 2nd?
Yeah, I want to send out an invitation to those who have ever been curious about coaching or interested in what this type of support looks like. Please be there. Come see. Come get a taste of it. It's going to be 90 amazing minutes for you to be poured into, and you'll receive love being poured into, and B, you'll learn how to pour it into yourself.
It's going to be absolutely transformational. I am so excited that you are on this team. I am just so glad you are a gift to this space, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so, so much.
So get yourself a seat at this incredible event that's happening on December 2nd at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And yes, there will be a replay. The link is empowerededucator.com/favorite self. And the links are going to be in the show notes for you to make it super easy to sign up. Jillian, we're going to see you back on the show soon because I love chatting about all the things. It's really great to talk with you.
Yes, I love take notes. Let's go.
And if you love today's episode, make sure you do check out those show notes, and we'll see you next time on Take Notes. Incredible, right? Together, we can revolutionize the face of education. It's all possible, and it's all here for you right now. Let's keep the conversation going at Empowered Educator Faculty Room on Facebook.